You are a visionary, an entrepreneur, a business owner. You want to make money from your passion and create the freedom that you've dreamed of. But it's slow. The income is slow, the impact is slow, and the freedom is slow. And here's the kicker. You've actually never been busier. You're working longer than ever, burning through daylight, and your family have forgotten who you are. You're tired and frustrated and you can't even sleep well at night. The business just feels so heavy, and all you ever wanted to do was just make the money you want to make doing the things that you want to do. And that's where I come in. Hi, if we haven't met yet, my name is Dr. Brooklyn Storme, and I'm the host of the Business Acceleration Podcast, where we shift your business from heavy to light, time poor to time abundant, and from income lack to income growth. We're going to achieve it together with my 20 years experience as a psychologist, helping people just like you to break through their barriers. And we're going to throw in a little of the woo as well. So thank you so much for pushing play today. Let's begin. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Business Acceleration Podcast. I'm so excited today because I'm interviewing one of the most inspiring women that has come into my circle recently. Her name is Shirley Sienna Conventry, and I first met Shirley. Shirley would be about 2 or 3 years ago now.
It would be just about 3 years ago, I'd say. I was not long down here on the peninsula.
That's right. And she did a reading for me, and I still have the piece of paper. Shirley was at a Mind, Body, Spirit festival, and she was offering, you do so much. It was psychic readings and astrology and numerology. And she said, what would you like? And I said, whatever you feel guided to give me. And yes, Shirley did this whole spread, and I couldn't believe what was in it. And I was very excited about it, but I didn't believe that it would actually happen for me. And now everything's sort of unfolded exactly how she said that it was. So, yeah.
What did I say?
Well, do you remember, at that time I went in and I was all very closed off from you. I didn't want to show you my facial expressions or my body language or anything. I wasn't giving you any clues. But you had said to me that there was going to be a big career shift. And I had already started manifesting work just for myself, and you had shared with me that it was going to be around manifesting. It was going to be around that whole, cosmic laws and universal laws, and that there was going to be some fallout in my profession. And that was okay because, I was separating from that anyway to do these other things. And then you predicted that it was just going to take off, and it kind of did.
Yeah, it did.
It really, really did. So, yeah.
I saw that. And I feel the media is so important for you in all ways. As you were talking then, that was coming to me very strongly, media. And it did happen very quickly because all of a sudden I glimpsed in and I'd look and I'd see your Facebook and the groups and things, and I was like, what's going on? This is right. It was real quick. And when I say real, I want to make REEL as well. Really quick. It's really quick manifestation because you must have been aligned with your purpose.
Yeah.
And we don't necessarily know it until it's pointed out.
Yeah, and I think having that discussion with you in that day was probably the beginning for me, because things just kind of evolved from there. And then I was always able to go back to, well, it was when I had this meeting, I guess, that it was brought to my attention that all of these things were going to happen. And they really did. And I mean, last year was such a big year. It was the first year that I really took the business coaching very, very seriously. And then it was, multiple TV shows. It was, magazine articles. It was guest blogging. It was guest podcasting, everything. It just it took off. I mean, recently I was on the 9 network. So it all just happened so quickly, exactly as you predicted. So, yeah.
Quantum leaps. That's what you actually did. And that's using that electro-quantum magnetic force energy that is around us, not just stepping up, climbing up the ladder or stepping along the path. You actually, I feel that the energy and power in those steps are our human form of quantum leaps. I feel that we can do in our 3D dimension in our, our normal lives. I feel that's what it was. It was like power, energy. So you worked with them, and that's what can really take you. Sometimes I feel probably we look at people and say, how do they get there? How do we do that? You know, what's going on? It's because there's somehow an alignment with, and it takes those quantum leaps, not just, you know, try hard, work harder, you know, climb the mountain, paddle upstream. That doesn't work.
No. So, Shirley,
yeah.
can you please tell us a little bit? I've just noticed the time. It's 11:11. So,
Of course it is.
Can you tell everybody a little bit about who you are?
Right. Well, who am I? I do work professionally as a medium, psychic. I do astrology. I look at astrology, numerology, all those things, many things like the human design that you've mentioned before, and the dream spell and things like that. Sort of, I've got a broad spectrum, and I understand that is because of my own personal numbers and my pattern and my code. So I'm able to sort of sweep across the board into a lot of bit of a jack of all trades in the spiritual psychic world. And I've done this for, you know, quite some years now, and it just develops, but it's my life. It's not separate. And, you know, like everybody, I've done many jobs, you know, worked many places, but all these things I believe to give me the energy and the knowing and the understanding that I can utilise in this work. And it's always been a part of my life. I didn't have to discover spirituality or life after death. You know, my grandmother was a spiritualist, you know, for all her 96 years, basically. And so there was, the whispers in my household were, you know, spooky ones. And so I didn't, it was already real. And I, as a child, I saw beyond the world. I saw spirit. It was pretty scary sometimes, you know, a lot of fear to get through because nobody said it's not real. You're imagining things. So I've always had it very strongly. There's times in my life I didn't want to know about it, you know, but I can't think of being any other way. It just is me and it's my life. So I don't sort of put my hat on and on there. It's how I live it now. And I guess I'm 59. So I'm sort of set. I just do it as I want now. You know what I mean?
So, Shirley, what would you say, like, you know, you're living everything. There's no separation between what you do and who you are. And I feel like I'm in that space now too. But what would you say to somebody, you know, who's starting her own business? How can she start that process for herself?
Well, I feel like over the years I've met so many, you know, men and women, but the women especially, they often feel like, you know, they can come to a class, to a development class, they can be in the spiritual world, but then they have to go home and be someone else and not talk about it and not mention it and all that sort of stuff. And they do tend to get caught up in a separation. What they do, they can look forward to coming to sit in what we call circle, you know, where meditation and development once a week, and the rest of the week it's forgotten, or they can't talk about it home because hubby doesn't like it or doesn't believe in it, and or their friends will think they're weird or they've lost the plot. You know what I mean? So they tend to live two separate lives, a lot of people. I guess I'm very lucky I didn't have to. People have accepted me. Maybe they thought I was nuts anyway, I don't know. So it's probably how I am, but a lot of people have been under that. So they find that, oh, I'm off the path, or I haven't been doing it. We're never off the path. It's always there. Everything is our path. Our real life, when we're changing nappies, when we're getting married, when we're getting divorced, when we're going to work, every single thing we do is part of our spiritual experience, because we are a being that is having this physical, incarnate life as a human on this planet. So everything we do, whether we're, you know, whether we're a brain surgeon, whether we're a plumber, whether we're home with our bubbers, whatever we're doing is part of our experience here. So it's all our spiritual work, it's all our spiritual life. But people have put the spiritual into almost a religious form. They think it's something else, but it isn't. It's everything you're already doing. You don't have to ever pick up a crystal. You don't have to know anything about anything. You're already doing it. We cause that separation ourselves. So it's really just about knowing you, not have feeling you have to hide things, but not pushing it down people's throats, because then you do push them away, because people feel it's a form of maybe religious bias or something, and it's nothing to do with that. So you don't have to be, well, I met you at a psychic fair, but you don't ever have to step foot in one. You know what I mean? So forget everything that you think it is and just be you. And it doesn't hurt to take notice, and you will be shown what's going on, and that's how you will step forward with it, with your alignment and your purpose. And it should appear differently to everyone.
So it's for people listening that are not feeling like they're living their purpose, you're saying they just need to be more aware of, I think you were saying before we started recording, if it feels good, you're doing something right. Yeah,
that's right. And it doesn't mean that once you sort of discover this form of life or whatever, get into this side of things, that everything's easy. Everything is probably a lot harder. What I've found is that it gives me the insight. I can see, I'll get caught up in the dreadful part of my life and I'll feel just like everybody else. But I also have the ability to see the other side of it, the other side of the coin. I can be clued in because I take notice of the signs and the synchronicities that I'm shown very clearly, and I take notice of. We're all shown them. We just don't see or take notice. And so I can see how this crooked path and all these things are leading to exactly where I need to be or to what needs to happen. And you can bring that down from a life path into one day. What needs to unfold in this day?
Sure. So what sort of things do people need to be looking out for or tuning into?
Well, the thing is, people say, oh, that's a coincidence. And they have the wrong opinion about coincidence. Coincidence is to coincide. People say a coincidence is something, oh, that shouldn't have happened. It's a random. Coincidence is the very thing you're denying that it is. It is a synchronicity. It is a sign. It's there for you. It coincides with you in that moment. Karma, Karma, if you look at that, it says a mark. It's a mark in time. It's nothing come back to get you that's bad to bite you in the backside. Karma is a karmic moment, a moment to take notice of, to understand. And whatever form it comes in is for you to take notice and live through. I've started to call things blessings, a cross between a blessing and a lesson. That's what I feel everything is now. So we have lots of blessings.
I love that.
That came to me last year in Bali when we were having a big moment at one of the retreats. So this is a blessing. And, things happen. And don't wish them away. But you don't have to own the really hard negative stuff. You don't have to own anything. I'm working through this. Oh, God, and be vulnerable and be everything you need to be in the moment. But when that old saying, this too shall pass, is very true. We tend to hang on and get so caught up that the obstacle can't even shift. The Lord Ganesha, the elephant god, they say he removes all obstacles, but he also puts them there. Because sometimes we're not meant to go. We're meant to go around or find another way. And when we look at things like the human design that you've been talking about on your posts and things, if we understand a little about our own human design, we'll understand that there's different ways we look at things, whether we set an intention, how open we are to receiving, how we should proceed comes back to our personal alignment, vibration, numerical code and everything like that. Learn a little bit about yourself and you'll understand a whole lot more about what's going on. Listen to there is a difference between listening to your brain, which is just like our computer modem filled with information, and our mind, and people say, oh, I don't know if it's me or am I getting messages or is it me? Ask if it's me and trust what you get, or is this coming to me, or is this me thinking about it? Meditate, take notice, don't ignore things, don't write things off. Be a bit nutty, be a bit out there and see what happens, because fact is they say is much stranger than fiction, and that is so true. You know, things really bizarre and out there things can happen. But then you can look at our simple life and say, well, here I am, I'm alive, I'm a human, and all the things around us I think are so amazing. To have a bookcase filled with books, how do we have that? So it's no different to what people say, oh, you know, the phenomenon that we look for. There's nothing more outlandish or unreachable in what we can't see and we can't sort of grasp as to what's right in front of us. Does that sort of make sense a bit?
Yep. I think covered up a lot of things there.
Yeah, it's, and I think I'm uncovering a lot of things. We're blanketed in 3D, you know, which is actually very flat. Vision. We have our sensory perception, our sixth sense, and we're just trained and told to ignore it. And so we do.
Yes.
Opening that up and letting it back in.
Yes.
Trusting your instinct.
Yes.
Our instinct is our inner knowing. It's not just about, you know, the fright and flight, run and fear. Instinct is what, you know, trust yourself first. There's no right or wrong. Things are going to turn out somehow and all roads are going to lead to Rome. Enjoy yourself. There was a Michael Jackson song, The Jacksons, many years ago. Enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself. And I used to play it in the car driving down here to the Peninsula from my other place in Melbourne when I first came. And it would help me align and get used to my new life, you know, which wasn't easy peasy. I'm here for because things, you know, happened. But it gets you to where you need to be. And give yourself time to work out, oh, here I am. And all of a sudden, I have a moment where I'm feeling good. I might walk the dog up the road and I'm like, got to feel good. Maybe that's all I was meant to do.
Yeah. Sometimes I think too about growing up, and I think when you go to school, for example, you go to primary school and you go to high school, they're teaching you sort of, I think, how to follow direction and respect the teacher and, you know, do your work, be a good girl, be a good boy. Everyone's going to get a purple ribbon at the end of the day because you all participated and things like that. And, you know, there's no opportunity given or no space given for people to learn about some of these 4D things that we're talking about today. That they're not taught about your intuition and what that is, and they're not taught about you know, how you can actually create the life that you want to have if you shift your thinking a little bit. And you know, it's the opposite to being expanded. It's kind of restricted in a way. Don't you think?
I have been thinking about that a lot lately, especially the school part, because I've been looking and people think being smart, they equate being smart with being good at what you do, but that's because you've been taught and you are following a set of rules and instructions and you might be very good at it. It doesn't give you anything about being smart at all, but that's what people equate it with. Being smart is tuning in and following your own direction and actually understanding what you're doing on a high level of a frequency that you're aligned with, tuned in with, not just because you're following instructions so you do it right. That's not smart. And that's been coming up and being presented to me a lot in this past couple of weeks, looking at people and who they put on a pedestal and who they idolise and all these things, but they might be good at what they're doing, but they've been taught to do it. It doesn't make them any smarter than you.
No, it doesn't. And I think I mentioned this with somebody I was talking to recently on the show, and we're talking about how it kind of sets you up to have an employee mindset. So then so then when you say, well, I'm going to break from the norm here and start my own business, sometimes people in your circle can panic a little bit and think, oh no, you know, because their ego kicks in and they think, oh, it's not going to be safe. What if it doesn't work? What if she's, you know, what if she bombs? What if we lose the house because she uses all of the money in stock for the business and can't shift it? And, you know, when you step into that entrepreneurial space, no matter what business you're doing, if you're doing a professional business like a psychologist or something, or if you're doing a retail business, or if you're doing a healing, it doesn't matter what it is, you kind of got to have a little bit of gumption, because you haven't been trained, you haven't had that programming, you've been programmed to do the opposite. And I think then when you step into that entrepreneurial space, it feels very awkward and you feel very unsure of yourself, even though you know what you want to do and you're clear on your purpose and you're clear that you want to help and you're clear on all of those sorts of things. The day-to-day feels really hard because it's this huge learning curve, and you're still thinking like an employee rather than thinking like an entrepreneur, like somebody who thinks outside of the box.
Where as women, we're often thinking, how can I fit this in so it suits everybody? How can I fit it into between school hours? How can I fit it in so hubby doesn't crack it? How can I fit it in with everything, what everybody expects of me? And do I really want to do it, or am I doing it because I think I have to do it? This year is 2020. It is all about the feminine, the women, the goddess. 2 is the number of the moon. It is the number of the mother. It is the number of the female. 1 is the male counterparts, okay? So 2020 is a 22, and that is feminine in its highest divine form. It's also chaos. But when we birth something out, it comes, and it looks like chaos, falling. But if we stand back and allow it, which is law of attraction, give it that moment, it falls into place. And that's what this year is about. So this is all about the re-empowerment of the woman, of the discovery of the feminine, discovering what it is, who it is, how it is, and where it's been hiding within us, how it's been taken away, how we can give it back, how the male, who is male in this world, can identify with it and pick it up and feel safe and not overwhelmed nor threatened, nor if they are a gay man, nor so they don't feel threatened, because if they are effeminate in any of their nature, it's okay. It's nurturing, it's womb, it's the earth. And in Australia, we're burning at the moment, which is dreadful, but it's also purification. And it has come along because of a lot of patriarchal business, power, money, instead of nurturing the earth, nurturing ourselves, listening to our First Nation people, abiding by nature's rules, which is the mother, because earth is feminine. So 2020 is bringing it all up from the ground. There's 2 and 2 is 4. It's the platform, it's the ground, from the ground up. And it affects all of us in our lives, whether we want to start a craft business or an empire or just get a job, but understanding where we fit and being okay. There's a saying, who owns your mind owns your time, and vice versa. Who owns your time owns your mind. Realising that we can own our own time and our own mind and work with that first, and then it filters from within to without. I'm saying all this, I still have to do it myself. Do we ever get it down pat? It's a constant learning curve, and every age we are as women, however old we are and whatever part of our lives we're going through, we have to deal with it in a different manner and way. No kids, too many kids. Kids sometimes they're at dad's now. I've got them all the time because, the other parent isn't there at all. I have none. I have so many. I have one. Whatever's going, it's huge. So it's not like, oh yeah, I've got it. That's never going to happen. We're here to experience in a short amount of time everything that we are experiencing. But when you start having some moments, those gut feeling moments where just a little bit of like, oh, I feel okay. This feels good. Oh my God, I'm having a moment of happiness. That is something that is rare. We miss it a lot. We don't understand. When it comes, grasp it and work with it and let it settle into your guts.
I was wondering too, Shirley, just to go back, you mentioned about masculine and feminine energy. And I was just
Yes.
wondering if you could clarify for perhaps people who are still getting used to the idea of what that actually is and what that actually means, because it doesn't mean like your actual gender or sexuality. But can you speak a little bit about what that is so that the people listening can understand?
Well, I guess we've got the quality. Look, we have sun and we have moon. The sun is the life force, fiery energy. The moon is the darkness. Like we've got yin and yang. The numbers, the numeric form is the 1 and the 2. And, you know, there's the, when they cross over, when you have an eclipse, we should all have the masculine and feminine energies in it. Go back to like hunter-gatherer. The men went out and hunted and the women stayed back in the tribe and put everything together. The women give birth, the men provide the seed, the masculine provides the seed, and the goddess births it out. You know, people pray to a god and they don't want to go to the goddess. They don't understand. You have to have, it's a complete energy, it's a whole energy, it's a coin with two sides, it's heads and tails. The nurturing quality of birthing, of feeding, of all that, that is the feminine, the quality, the provision, the, you know, really hunter-gatherer to provision, that is all the masculine. We've got, you know, the left brain, the right brain, how they work differently, bringing it together. People look to the dove and they see that as a sign of peace. And I always see it as that in the middle, which has come together as masculine, feminine, and one wing is masculine and one wing is feminine. It can't fly unless both wings are working on an even basis, just being a whole person. And it always brings me into, you know, this whole transgender. This is a decade where it's so powerful, isn't it? It's been happening. And the freedom of that, I feel they're here to show us about being whole. You know, so maybe bringing all our qualities together, but there are more feminine qualities and more masculine qualities that we look at.
So how does an entrepreneur, then how does a person in business try and find the balance? How do you know when you're out of balance is probably the first question. And then how do you restore that balance on a sort of day-to-day practical?
I feel like probably out of balance, you know, we get a bit of a health kick, obviously, sometimes, don't we? Tired, run down, nothing's working. So why isn't it working? Probably if they were to look into their numerology and all those things, they would understand. And that's why I like to do what I call a reading, because by looking at their grid, I can pinpoint that. By looking at their human design, I can say, oh, no, you're a generator. So that's why this is feeling difficult with you, because you've been told and taught and shown that you have to do this, but it actually isn't in alignment with what you are and who you are. So, and we get a health kick, we get tired, things don't go right. And like I said before, there's obstacles and things, but sometimes we're pushing against trying. But if we had a little key, we wouldn't have to be pushing and trying. We just don't understand the key. And as women in the business, it's like, it's so hard because there's so much expected of us to be everything. We have to be everything and nothing. It's a fight. We can't just be. And so it's retraining our brain and our mind and our understanding that I can just be, and I am a human here, and I may or may not have children, and I may or may not be in a relationship of either sex or whatever, but I'm allowed to be who I am and discover who I am and work to the best of my ability with what my intuition, and remember, intuition is a very feminine thing. When men sit with me in classes and things like that to learn development in that area, I see it's much easier for the women to work in the intuition. The men have to get past that whole logical, see the male as the logical, that logical side, and they have to sort of learn to shift it. It's like as women, we'll sit and listen and talk, and we can over talk and all those things. Men will answer, you know, the old thing, men will have to answer like they feel they have to fix it. You know, Venus and Mars, you know, what's his name, Gray, who wrote all that years ago, you know, all that sort of thing. It's so complex. But as a woman, women of strength, women of strength, that's on the inside, and we are so strong and so capable, and we do so much. And it's time, especially this year, for us to understand we've got to do it. Women are doing it for themselves. That's the key this year.
Yeah, I think the women that I've sort of worked with, Shirley, I think they've all experienced this barrier with allowing things to come to them. You know, we go through the manifesting techniques, we go through the alignment techniques, we apply this as a framework for the business. But, you know, they come back to me and say, oh, it's not working. So they'll just keep trying harder and harder, or they'll keep repeating it and they'll just do it more. And they don't change how they're doing it. And then they feel defeated, and then they feel like, I mustn't be any good at this. I mustn't be worthy. I'm worthless. I'm valueless. No one wants me. No one wants my service. No one wants my product. I'm not wanted in general. So
because
I think,
they don't see what is working. We see what isn't. It's like the news. We listen to the bad news. We don't see the good news. We miss all that. You know, we as humans, we're tuned into that sort of energy, aren't we? Very much into the negative. So they don't see what is working and how it's working. They're going with what they think they have to, because they don't know their type. They don't know their design. As soon as they know that, it can make a difference in a split second. Are they doing what they really want to do, or what they think they're supposed to do? Is it bringing them joy? You know, the lady with cleaning out the clothes show, the Japanese lady.
Oh, yeah, Mary Kondo.
Does it bring me joy? It's not just about clearing out the cupboard. Does everything in every moment, does it bring you joy? Everything should bring you a little bit of joy, even if it's vacuuming. If it's not, then put it down and don't do it. Get someone else to do it, or wait until it brings you a little bit of joy.
Yeah, outsource.
We don't have to be, and women we are the biggest martyrs. Because I feel like we have to prove ourselves and do so much. So we don't get a whole lot of joy. We miss so much of it because we're so busy feeling, oh my God, if I relax and allow myself and enjoy it, I'm doing what I really want to do. I'll be outcast. I'll be a pariah. I won't, acceptable. As women have gone through when they started to get into business and rise to executive positions and everything. I mean, it's still not equal. There is no equality yet. But we're our own biggest women. We can't blame the men. We are our own biggest backstabbers, non-supporters, and judge and jury. The men don't have to do that to us. We're doing it to ourselves now and have been for a long time.
So how can we stop doing that when it comes to running our own businesses? How can we be a little bit kinder to ourselves? You mentioned before it's, we often don't focus on what's working.
Yeah, because we don't see it. We don't see that it is working, and we have this impression that everything has to go right in order for it to be working, but it doesn't. Because there's a point, if you draw a map you want to be, or you think you have to be, or you're aligned to be, or whatever, but you have to go all these other little ways. It's never just a straight run, because then you don't have any experience. And remember, it's not the destination, it's the journey. Yes,
that's right. It's enjoying that process. I think
what we discover and learn.
Yes, and I think that's in some of the Buddhist teachings as well, that it's not that you arrive, it's what you discovered about yourself along the way. And I think also that same theme is in the book The Alchemist by Paul Coelho. Yeah, it's all about his experiences on the journey. And, he gets to the end, and I won't do a spoiler alert or anything, but anyway, yes, but it's really around what you learn along the way, who you meet along the way, who you connect with along the way, and understanding that what looks like an obstacle in the moment down the track, it works out that that obstacle was actually a doorway.
A blessing.
Right, a blessing, yes.
You're like, I know that. Done it, been there. Yeah, now I get it. Hindsight. It's not foresight. It's hindsight that is the greatest gift. People come when they see, oh, I get that. It relieves burdens. It can relieve guilt. It can relieve all those things that you've been carrying. Because if you understand why and how something happened and why, it's like, oh, okay. And then you can move on freely. You're not pulling those chains. It's like it's dragging all those chains. We can unlink those and move forward into what's coming. It's like being on walking down the long hallways in the airports and then slipping over onto one of those little moving bits. I always jump on those. It's like, oh, wow, hang on a minute. I don't have to keep slogging. Now I understand what's happening, what's happened, why and how. And it just gives you one of those little quantum leaps.
Yeah, and I think, I've just forgot what I was going to say. Can you explain a little bit about what a quantum leap is? I touched on it briefly in one of my previous shows, but not in any great detail.
Well, what is it? I guess probably I feel like quantum leap, to explain it, would be different in anything that's going on, like I said before, in part of your life or where you're at and who you are and how you are and what energy is going on and what year we're in and everything like that. A quantum leap, it could be, you could look at it as a little paradigm. I want to say, and I can't prove this, so I was in Mexico earlier, later in last year, because this is next year now, isn't it? When was I? I think I was there for August or something, and or July, July. And we did a ceremony for a new paradigm, and this was a conference about time and quantum energy and all that, right? And we actually stepped in and we created a new paradigm that had been coming. And you can look at a quantum leap as a bit of a time leap. Remember the old show where I used the quantum leap shows that have been on TV? So it's jumping timelines, which you can do. It is utilising that energy, like quantum healing is utilising the energy around us. Everybody's got their own personal matrix around them. Quantum energy, it's physics, it's metaphysics. It's metaphysical. To me, I would explain it in metaphysical terms. It is an energy and a frequency that exists that we can utilise or we can become tangled up in, like a web. So it is the ability to heal, to shift and change things, because it's like the chi that flows through our body, which is our life force energy, which you come with qigong and all these things. You work with that energy. You can create chi balls of energy. So it's all that energy, whether people call it Reiki, whether people call it whatever. It's all a connective energy. It's frequencies. I personally feel that it is also connected to our planetary alignment and universal cosmic energy as well. I work very much with that. Who we are, therefore, the quantum energy that we each are aligned with is unique and parallel with our own personal vibration. Vibration, energy, frequency, all those things are quantum energy, and you can all, it's sliding doors. You can open a door and go through. I feel like I can't even explain it in one word, because I feel like it's so unique to who we are and our understanding. But a quantum leap is a step that actually was an energy step, like you might see on those sort of shows. You don't have to be in another place, another time, another land, but it's definitely a step, like a jump into, if you were walking your map or the Harry Potter corridor where it lights up as you go, the footprints.
Yeah.
That's a bit of quantum energy.
Right. So I kind of think about,
real.
There's limitless versions of you, there's limitless versions of me, there's limitless versions of my dog, and all those limitless versions are living their best lives or different lives, or they're just doing it differently. And, you know, in my mind's eye, I can, you know, imagine a version of me, and maybe I might, you know, do some breath work and calm myself down. Then I might imagine like trying that version of me out for a day, just in my mind, and just seeing how that feels. And, you know, like trying on shoes, and if it's not a comfortable shoe, maybe I'm going to try on different shoes.
That's the power we have. We just don't.
Yeah. And then what you want to do is like try and bring that version back and start living your life in that space. And that's, I guess, it's how I think of quantum jumping and quantum leaping. But I think it's in other approaches, you might also call that, you know, timeline, shortening the timeline.
Yep.
Yeah. Because you're sort of bringing into your reality much more quickly what's happening. And this whole idea too around
the law of attraction.
The law of attraction.
The slides come together.
Yeah.
They bring them together. The old slides that we see, they start coming to one multi-dimensional picture rather than our flat separate slides.
Yeah. And you have to, it's so important that you really do, you know, people say, I'll believe it when I see it, but I think it's the opposite, that you know, you see it when you believe it. If you believe you're going to be successful in your business, then you're going to be successful in your business. If you believe you can write that best-selling book, you're going to write that best-selling book. If you believe that you can fill your diary with, you know, amazing clients that you really love working with, that pay you, you know, the money that you need to be able to cover everything off.
Yeah. Yeah, and how it is right for you. So judging what success is, feeling what success is, it's got to be how you feel it is too. Satisfaction, success, all different things. And that all goes with the human design as well. As a generator person feels that satisfaction. A projector feels a success. A manifestor, I'm a manifestor type. For me, it's just peace, which I totally understand now. So, you know, depending who you are is how you're going to feel it too. And you put it upon that. Oh, yeah, I felt successful at that. But am I satisfied? I should be satisfied. But no, if you're a projector, success is your satisfaction. Whereas as a generator, oh, I feel satisfied with that. But was I successful? Well, it must be, or I wouldn't feel satisfied. Do you know what I mean? So it's your key, and then looking at those other words around it and realise that they all work in with each other, bring it in for your own, and then that gives you that little moment of, oh, must be something okay, must be on the right path here because I felt good in that moment. If it feels good, really feels good, those are the moments that show you so much. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. Like I said, walking with the dog, and every now and I get, oh, feels so good. Because when we don't, a lot of our time is spent not feeling good.
Yeah, I think that's the key. That was one of the things that I've really been trying to practice over the last 12 months, even for my business and for my life. Really pay more attention to things that feel good and doing those, but also learning how to cultivate a feel-good feeling for myself.
And, you know, they say you can manifest a button as easily as a castle, but it doesn't mean you have to have the castle. You can have a button. So what aligns with you? What brings you joy? You know, we have health, we have money, we have all these things, and it's no good having all the money and no health, but it's not too good to be very healthy and not have a dime to yourself either. It's the happy medium, isn't it? And finding how I can best exist and enjoy and follow a passion. Do I have a passion? What is it? What is passion? Also, that can be so varied. It's okay if I stay home and I'm a mum and I love my kids. Maybe I don't want to do anything else, but maybe I'd really like to have a business or be an entrepreneur or open a little shop or do something from home. And Absolutely. That's okay. And if it feels good, give it a go. And the universe knows the allowing part of the law of attraction is the most important, because that's when it all comes into being and you start to feel your way. And, you know, we can't heal unless we feel. We've got to feel all these things in order to understand, to heal, and to know what we don't want and to know what we do want, and to see what we have and how we'll get there. it's moment to moment.
Yeah. And so, Shirley, how can, just to summarise, do you have any words of guidance or wisdom from
words of wisdom, Mother Mary? Well, Mother Mary, come to me, because this is the year she will, because it's 2020, like I said, it's the divine feminine, it's the goddess. It is a platform for creation, and the number 4 is about organisation and planning and bringing things together, bringing things into form. Now, we're in the 4th year now, this is it, of a new cycle, 2020, and therefore, from sowing the seeds and thinking and imagining and putting out there, and then putting on our manifestation list and process and ideas and all that, this is the year that things will come into form, into our reality. That is the number of 4. And we have to allow those things to fall on new and purified ground, which doesn't have to be burnt in the bushfires, our own personal ground. Think of it as sacred space. Think of it, look, when the Twin Towers fell, they called it ground zero. That's what we all have to have in our lives this year, and build anew. It's not about changing things. It's about deconstructing, unbuilding, putting things out. I have ground zero. What do I really want to bring it up? Because we've got a platform that will allow things to actually come into reality and form. So to be mindful, because as we know, our thoughts, the power of our thoughts, it's very powerful. We're manifesting all the time, and go, why is that happening to me? It's because we've manifested it, because we're so thoughtful of it that thought forms create and come into reality. So be mindful, meditate. And I don't, people say, I can't meditate. I say, stop trying. Just sit down for 5 minutes. Put some white noise on, whatever you need to do, because that takes you out of the zone and brings you back in a little bit fresher and relieves and gets you out of the way so that things can fall into place and order. Then you have a little bit of hindsight. So you don't have to have any spiritual, anything, but everybody can sit and meditate. Meditate, don't medicate, but it gives a bit of time for things to come. And when it's like cleaning the house and going out and coming back and having a look at it and say, oh, it's pretty good in here, but you couldn't see it until you'd left and come back. Even though you cleaned it all up, you had to have a new vision, a new look. Oh, it's like, oh, it is nice in here. That's what this year is about, and very much about there's been a prophecy about the women of the Western world will heal the world, and I believe that this is happening. This is the happening part of this. And I'm not anti-man. I've got some very good friends that are men.
Okay, great.
I love them all, but it's our power. You know what I mean? It is that feminine matriarchal power that will rebuild and heal, and we are all a part of that. Whether we're masculine, male, or female, doesn't matter.
I think there's absolutely room for everybody to, there's space for everyone to, create an impact. And I think there are so many people now that are more aware and are more consciously aware of, political things, of the planet, the environment, all of that. But I think also too at their very core level, there's a really clear articulation in the world at the moment of a desire to be of use. Everybody's talking about how they want to serve others, and this is all relatively new. Yeah, exactly. So, Shirley, just in wrapping up, how can people get in touch with you if they would like to connect?
Well, I've got my website, which is www.shirleysienna.com. I'm on Facebook, Shirley Sienna Conventry. I'm in Crib Point down here. So that's really the ways to find me.
Lovely. I'll put all of Shirley's details in. I
do share a lot, yeah. I share a lot of information. Pick it up and run with it. You don't even have to come to me. Just, if it gives you an idea, then go for it. Use the internet, read books, and think a bit out of the square, because the four of this year is a box, a square, but it's Pandora's box. Open the lid and see what comes out.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. No worries.
I really loved having you on.
Thank you. All right, be in touch.
Okay,
Talk
bye.
soon. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening today. I really hope that you enjoyed it and got a lot of value from it. Help me help others by sharing this podcast. And if you feel called to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, remember to let me know so that I can send you a very special thank you gift. Now go and build your dream business, and I will see you next time. Bye.